Good morning. Let's welcome back to Talking Some Baseball. Today, my subject is going to be Juan Samuel. For anyone who has been a baseball fan for a while, they know that name. He was the fast rising super prospect of the Philadelphia Phillies back in the early 80s. He had a long career. He's still in baseball as the third base coach of the Philadelphia Phillies. But this is how he ends up, sort of, in my one summer season, my baseball coming of age, finding love, losing love, etc., novel, which I have self published on Smashwords. I interviewed Juan Samuel in, I believe, 1983. To understand that, I was the sports editor at the Bend Bulletin, and Juan's stature among baseball fans in Bend was that of the ultra hero. He and a big first baseman named Willie Darkus were the star players on the only Bend team to win the Northwest League title. And Juan was a tremendous athlete. I mean, a superb athlete. Offensively, he was a terror. He was Andrew McCutcheon, except with more speed. But okay, let's go back to talking about my interview with him. He was expected to be called up to the Phillies, the Major League Phillies, for the first time. So before he would be making that trip, they lined up the chance for the Portland Beavers to come down and play at Vince Guinness Stadium in Bend. Bend was the short season Class A affiliate of the Phillies. The Portland Beavers at that time was the Triple A team, the last level before someone goes to the major leagues. So the Portland Beavers played the Tacoma Rainiers in Vince Guinness Stadium. And earlier in the afternoon, Juan and I sat in the first base dugout at Vince Guinness Stadium, and we just had a nice interview chat. He was an excellent person to interview, very personable, very forthcoming. I, of course, talked to him about what it felt like to be, right on the edge. Everyone says you're going up to Philadelphia pretty soon. Talked about his experiences in Bend, what that was like. But the part that ends up in my novel was when I asked him about being just a young kid out of the Dominican Republic and coming to play professional baseball in the United States for the first time. And he said, yeah, loved the chance. He had to go through tryouts. He was a kid who worked in the sugarcane fields and factories as a very young guy. And suddenly he's going to have a chance to climb the ladder of American professional baseball. But he said the main thing which caused him problems was he didn't know any English when he came. Very, very sparse knowledge of that. And he talked about, in particular, when he first got there, he knew how to order one thing off the menu. And if I am correct in my memory from a 30-plus-year-old interview, he said it was chicken and fries. So in my story, R.W. Clay, my protagonist, young kid, doesn't know any Spanish, from the Dalles, Oregon, being thrust into this new world of professional baseball, and a new arrival on their team, on the Grand Junction Rockies, is a kid from the Dominican Republic named Juan Davalillo. I really wasn't thinking of Juan Samuel other than um, the story that I adapted. So he just ended up being Juan because, yeah, oh, yeah, okay, it's a good Spanish name. The episode that goes on, and for any of you who have just looked at the first 20% of my book and done downloads, you haven't seen this chapter. Um, the Rockies go on their first road trip. They take off after the game and they're driving all night, and they arrive in the early hours of the morning in Idaho Falls, where they're going to start their first road series. And they go into a restaurant, just your local little breakfast place. And R.W. Clay pulls up in a seat up at the counter, and his manager, Chris Shostet, who just prefers for all these players just to call him Skip, is 2 stools down, but sitting next to him and pulling up a spot is Juan Davalillo. Well, RW knows what he wants for breakfast, and he has had that on his mind for a long time. But suddenly Juan holds out the menu, and there's a photo on it, and he points to it, and he says something in Spanish. If my limited amount of Spanish is correct, he asks, how do I order this? Well, RW has no clue. He doesn't understand the Spanish, so he turns to his manager and goes, "Hey, my Spanish is real shaky. Skip, can you help me out here?" And to his credit, his manager goes, "Yeah, figure it out on your own, Clay. It's just part of your baseball education." Well, they try and hit the same roadblocks, and so he turns to Skip again and goes, "Hey, help me out here. I don't understand what he's doing." And Skip goes, "Hey, just help him out. Do the best you can. That's what teammates do." And then the rest of the chapter is just a give and take, trial and error between Juan Davalillo and R.W. Clay on trying to figure out exactly what Juan is talking about and what he wants. At one point, Juan Davalillo goes chicken and fries. RW goes, "Oh, okay, you want chicken and fries. No chicken, no fries." RW is totally flustered by this. Okay, on one hand he says chicken and fries, then he says no chicken and fries. And that's the only time that Skip steps in, and he goes, "Hey, I've been with Juan for every meal he's had since he got into Grand Junction. He has chicken and fries for breakfast. He has chicken and fries for lunch. He has chicken and fries for dinner. Why? It's the only thing he knows how to order off a menu in English." Okay. Yeah. And that was Juan Samuel's story. And Juan, to his credit, and Juan Davalillo does this, he would take out a little booklet and write down an English word, get the Spanish equivalent for it. And that way, slowly, Juan was able to teach himself English so that he could navigate his way in a land of English speakers. I mean, here is Juan Davalillo, my character, being thrown into a strange world of Western Colorado, going on road trips that are going to take him into Utah, parts of Idaho, and Western Montana. It's like walking on the moon. And that's one of the things I wanted to bring across. It's not a major chapter. It is just simply a slice of life chapter that is used to illustrate um, just the huge gap that so many of these first year players are taking. You know, when in one of my earlier video blogs, I said that there are two steps within climbing the ladder to the major leagues that are the toughest. One is going from the high minors, class A or class double A or triple A into the majors. The other one is going from, sugarcane fields in the Dominican Republic or a small town like the Dalles, Oregon, and stepping into the world of pro baseball for the first time. And in that chapter, I just illustrate one of the little things that can happen. There were a lot of things that I witnessed. And I'm going to talk about another one tomorrow. I'm not going to get real detailed in some ways because some of it is exceptionally profane. But once again, I adopt my own term for it and attach a name, and I'll talk about that tomorrow. It's a little more of a human, somewhat lurid slice of young professional baseball. So we'll talk about that tomorrow. Here's to Juan Samuel and Juan Davalillo and R.W. Clay and all the young ones who are tried by fire. And you survive or you don't survive. It's the way of baseball. So we'll talk about my subject tomorrow. And until then, to all you writers who are watching this, write the hell out of it today. I'm going to get on and work on my novel, which I'm currently working on. And then we'll be back tomorrow. Thank you very much. Hope you enjoyed this. More later. Bye-bye.